that's the first thing I would tell you. It's actually okay. The reason I'm telling you that is because the only reason you feel bad about where you are is because you have resistance about where you are.
Mm.
First of all,
Um,
yeah,
how long did it? Did you start on TikTok?
I didn't start on TikTok. I started on Periscope. I don't know if you remember Periscope,
Is that Twitter?
but it was Twitter Live. That was the first platform to really
Okay.
have a live platform, and that was the first time I really built the audience on a social media. It was when Twitter Live launched. They launched Periscope.
Okay.
So Periscope was amazing because it was so open, so people from everywhere could just find you. It was so easy to find content there, especially live content. And it was one of the first experiences of its type. You know, people were just flooding in to the video and they would just message. They would message all kinds of stuff, good messages, positive messages, people who wanted to know things. And that was like the first boom of live social media. So that's where I started. That's where I first began. Then that fell off. Facebook Live came around, but it wasn't the same as Periscope. Periscope was the best.
Hmm.
It was the best because you could find anything. And it was one of those places that was similar to TikTok in a sense that it didn't just show your content to your group of people, the people who already follow you.
Hmm.
The benefit was it showed it to everybody who was interested in it. So that ended up being the best thing because when you can show content to people who don't know you, but the content resonates, you start finding a tribe and a community, and that's what
Hmm.
ended up happening on Periscope. So that's why when TikTok came around and I saw how it was, I'm like, oh, I'm ready for this.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
It's the same thing. I liked it too. So then I started doing videos on TikTok, and that just took off. It just took off. I built 3 accounts. It was one on relationships, one was on mental science, and it was another one that I had with my baby mom. It was just family, and we grew all three of them over 100K, except for the both two over 100K. It was one that was like 70K, just because we were pumping out content that we knew we liked and people wanted to hear and that they needed, and it was fun. So we just hit it.
Oh, so you run 3 accounts on TikTok
I had 3 accounts. So
currently?
so my other account, I have multiple accounts on there, but the main one that I post on and I consistently post on is mental science. But I had another one which was stay masculine. It was for men.
Mm.
But most of my followers were women. It's funny, but it was stay masculine because the reason I put that out there was what we really need is a lot of willpower. Willpower has been lacking. Willpower has been lower, so especially in men, and I think men are able to change that easier just because of the nature of men. And I know it's a whole bunch of conversation about gender roles, LGBTQ. There's a lot of stuff like that. But what my intent was to get masculine men active because that's a group and it's an
Mm.
important group. And I wanted to get that group active on really nailing down their purpose, the intention for their purpose, and having incredible relationships, not just average ones, not just tolerating what you want, but having exactly what you want. And that was for that one. I really had passion for that one. So, and then the other one with my baby mom, it was just we would just laugh to have fun. We did skits all day, so that was that one. But the relationship aspect of things, I'm really passionate about relationships and family, and people really getting a romantic life in order because that's some of the most joyful experiences you can have. But for most people, it's not the case.
Hmm.
For most people, it's annoying. It's like they're getting with devil after devil after devil. That's what they feel. And people are selfish. They don't care about anything except themselves. They're entitled. And that's what I hear most of the time about relationships. And it shouldn't be like that. It just flat out shouldn't be like that. It should be fun. It should be something that you like. It should be something that you want to engage in. but it's triggers to that. It's certain things you have to do, certain things you have to know. And if you know the triggers and you know how to initiate the energy that makes it work, then it will work. But most people don't believe that because they've never seen examples of it, which I understand. But once you start seeing examples of people who hated each other and then they absolutely fell in love with each other and were passionate, it's like, how did that happen? And they usually chalk it up to some kind of an anomaly, but it is a mental process, an emotional process that happens right here that changes those circumstances. So I'm telling you, it's an incredible journey. It's an incredible journey, and it feels good. It feels good. It's like a game. It really is a game. And when you turn life into a game, I mean, I'm a gamer at heart. Like I grew up, and I'm talking about I was the best at Madden, like the best. You know, like no one.
You might have to see me on that, bro.
Hey, see, I ain't as good as I used to be. So you probably get me. You probably get me on that one. And I still play first person shooter games. Like I'll play Call of Duty, but I suck at it. You know, my KD ratio probably like 5 kills, 20 deaths, something like that. And so I'm not good at it, but I like playing. But I'm telling you, when you turn life into a game and you know how to do it, it's just fun. It's fun once you learn the rules of it. It's fun when you know how to score. You only hate a game because you can't score. You don't know how to score.
Yeah.
Once you learn the game and you learn how to score and you start getting good at scoring, it started becoming fun. So that's really what life is. So I treat life like that. That's how I like it. It's fun. I'm real creative.
I like that. Because I agree with you. Once I heard that the notion that life is pretty much like a game and you start to play it like a game, to me it breaks it down and it makes it, I want to say, easier. You know what I mean? Like it takes it takes a lot of thinking out of it. You know what I mean? Like when it comes to goals, especially, like when I heard that, it's very simple. It's a very simple concept when it comes to goals. When you have a big goal, the best thing to do to achieve that goal is to break it down into smaller goals.
Exactly.
And that's like, duh, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's, when you hear it, you're like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. But like, before you heard that information, you're just like, how do I achieve this goal? And it seems so far out of reach.
Yeah. And it's a part of the game. Like, a part of the game is making life into a game in the first place. If you don't know that life is mental, because mental science is the spirit's effect, it's the study of the spirit's effect on the mind and the mind's effect on physical matter. Understanding that you do not have control over the scoreboard, you have control over if you score. When you realize the scoreboard changes on its own, and the scoreboard is the physical reality, this thing changes on its own. You are not going to control that. It's doing it anyways. But when you realize that you can score to change reality, and that the changes you see in reality that you did are scores, it gets really fun to do. It gets real fun to do. Because you realize, oh, I can actually do this. I can make this happen. I don't have to beg. I don't have to wait for law of attraction to bring it to me. I can create it.
Yeah.
And law of attraction is going to respond to what I created. Oh, I'm about to do a lot more. You get excited about it.
Right.
But if we sitting around waiting on life to change, if we sitting around hoping life will change, or we're listening to a whole bunch of different people who don't have any outcomes that you want, or they're giving a halfway recipe, well, you're not going to get the same chocolate cake that your grandma makes unless you do the same recipe. So it's a recipe to getting everything you want in life, and it's the simplest recipe that nobody can brag on. That's because it's so simple. The fact that it's so simple, once you realize what the secret is, mental science helps you with this. But once you realize what the secret is, it's like, who can brag on this? This is easy.
Mm-hmm.
And all it is feeling good all the time and feeling better. That's it.
Let's park there.
That's it.
That's very interesting because a lot of the times, like I think when you grow up, you kind of hear you have to work hard to, achieve, your dream life or achieve your goals. And I know that's true, but at the same time, you hear, a lot of new thought, come up and it's kind of all over the internet now, but a lot of new age thought or new thought, schools of thought. You hear how law of attraction allows us to attract the things that we want in our life, right? And I want to know, like, for someone who may not have ever come across information like this, it's very woo-woo, right?
Yeah, right. It's very woo-woo to a person. Yeah, I understand.
Can you share with me when you started this, this journey on mental science? Can you share with me how you were before you had come across the information and how you are now, and kind of what it has done for you in your personal life?
Absolutely. Now, we unconsciously are studying mental science from the day we're born. We don't know that that's what we're studying or that's what we're learning. But that's the game of life itself, is mental science. But before I realized it, dude, I was depressed. Before I was able to wake up and be happy, really. Before I was able to wake up and say, I want that, and then have all my excitement go toward getting my business or getting the relationship that I wanted and having the things that I want, or be definitely on the way to getting what I want and knowing it and feeling good about it every single day. Before I was able to do that, feel good about myself, be connected to God, spirit, life. Before that, I was literally depressed. I was depressed. I was at my grandma's house in Ohio. I was working at a stupid ice cream shop. It was so stupid. I mean, every day. It was the dumbest thing. I'm scooping ice cream. My arm's hurting. I got a muscle right here I didn't even know I had. Okay, it just started coming out. I hated scooping ice cream. And I'm like in the freezer digging in cold. I'm talking about cold packs of ice cream. What am I doing? What? Why am I doing this? And then I come home. I have no money because it's $8 an hour. I don't even know how I even did that. Like, why even? In my mind, I thought that was okay. I'm mad at Carl Leonard, this dude, UDF. It was in Ohio. They got UDFs. It's like a dairy and a store mixed together. And I'm like, so I worked there. I'm mad at the dude who created UDF. I'm like, why is he only paying me $8 an hour? I mean, that's literally was my mindset. It was my mindset. I got to borrow money from my grandma who doesn't have money. Dude, the girls I was attracting sucked. I mean, everything was bad. Everything was bad. And that's not even a joke. It was bad. So that was the beginning. That's where it started. I'm talking about, I felt so lonely, so empty, so lost, so confused. So confused. I loved people, but I'm confused. Nobody's telling me how to do this. I don't even see any way out of the situation. The only people who got out of my situation were people who sold drugs and went to the NBA. I'm from the hood of Cincinnati. So that's all I saw. It was nothing else. We didn't have, there was no potential to be a YouTube star. I tried it for a little while. I just thought it was a pipe dream, so I stopped. That's where I was before I started learning about the mind. And then my first realization of my mind was I was on college campus at University of Cincinnati. And I was listening to Kid Cudi. Okay, Kid Cudi was my hero because that boy, he was a troubled soul like me. Okay, so I listened to Kid Cudi and I'm listening to him Solo Dolo. I remember listening to the song Solo Dolo, soundtrack to my life. Look, that's a plug for Kid Cudi. Love you. So I remember listening to that song And it hit me. I'm like, I don't want to do this. This is not where I belong. I am not good at school. If I even did graduate, I probably would do the same thing that I would do if I just quit right now. And I realized I was not going anywhere in school. It just hit me.
Mm-hmm.
That if I spend another 2-3 years to get a communications degree or a business degree, I'm like, I'm going to be doing business anyway. So I'm going to quit right now. So I decided to quit school. Now, I didn't leave totally, but I knew it was the end in my mind. Mm-hmm. I knew that was the end. So now, this is so ironic, right? I'm going to tell you a story. So ironic. I make that decision. I want to make money. I made the decision. I want to make money. I want to succeed. Okay? I do not want to do the school thing. I don't remember how much time, may have been a couple days, a week. My cousin, who I have not seen in, I think it was 7 years at this point. Now, this guy, I'm from the hood, but he was in the hood. I'm talking about he was doing street things on a daily basis. He got locked up, went away for a while, came back, and he had just come back that year. And he's on campus, and he's dressed nice, like he's never been dressed, and he's speaking differently, and he's different.
Yeah.
And I saw him walking. He didn't see me. I grabbed him. I'm not even joking. I grabbed him. I said, "Hey, what are you doing? Why are you dressed like that?"
Yeah.
This is what I did. I said, "Why are you dressed like that? You never dressed like that." I don't know what made me do it. I knew hindsight, I know. But in that moment, I had no idea what I did. I grabbed him. I said, "What are you doing? Why are you dressed like this?" He said, this is how he talked. He's like, "Yeah, I got a part of the business team, So I said, and I didn't know what he said. I didn't even care what he said. He was dressed nice, and that was impossible.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I want to do whatever you're doing. Put me in the thing."
Yeah.
He took me to a meeting, and it ended up being a business, one of those networking businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know what a pyramid scheme was. Thank God I didn't know, because I wouldn't have joined.
Mm-hmm.
I went, this dude, he said he was going to teach me. He said he was going to take care of my mind. He told me he was going to teach me what he knew and introduce me to millionaires. I said, "I don't care what it is. Put me in." I didn't have any money. I paid money that I didn't have. I got in. Changed my life because I started reading. I started reading. He gave me books, and he told me, my millionaire mentors, they said this. They said leaders are readers.
Mm-hmm.
Leaders are readers. He said the person who's reading the most books is going to be the most successful. There's a correlation. I was like, "I'm reading all the books. Give them to me." I don't care what I said, "Give them to me. Give them to me. I don't care what it is." So I read my first year of reading. It sounds insane or impossible. I read 1,000 books the first year of reading.
Oh my gosh.
I'm counting books that I read multiple times. I'm also counting very, very short books that I read over and over again. But I read 1,000 books the first year. Flooded my mind. Because here's what I knew. I knew I was messed up. And I think this is hard for people to click in their brains. They have to accept where they are. I accepted where I was. I was an idiot. And I'm using that word on purpose. I was an idiot. Mm-hmm. I didn't know anything. When I tell you I didn't know anything, this is how little I knew. He told me, he said, "Yeah, you're going to be a business owner." I'm like, what do you mean business owner? He's like, "You're going to have, you're a business owner, you're an independent distributor, you have a company." I was like, what do you mean company? He's like, "Just get in and just read." I'm like, okay. I didn't even know what a business was. Really. I didn't know what a business was. He's telling me about assets and liabilities. I started learning about assets and liabilities. I started learning about active income and passive income. I'm reading books that are telling me that being an employee is the worst way to make money because it's the highest taxed. And I'm like, what? That's all I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so you tell me that I'm thinking that I didn't even know that the business owners were not employees. I never clicked. It never clicked in my brain. This is how lost I was.
Right.
This is how lost I was. So I knew I was dumb. That allowed me to be very teachable. And this is one of the number one things about mental science is you have to recognize how dumb you are. And that sounds so bad to new culture. It sounds evil. It sounds like I'm bashing people when I say that. I'm not. It'll save your life because none of us can know everything. Mm-hmm. We all are 99.9% ignorant. We do not know what's going on. Okay, if you ask somebody, okay, what's going on in the world? Everybody has an opinion. Everybody has an opinion. This is what's going on in China. Oh, have you been there? No, I haven't been there, but this is what's going on. Right. How do you know that?
Exactly.
You don't, but you act like you do. It just keeps me, it would have kept me in a dark place. So I start reading books. I'm telling you, when I started reading books, people thought I was a genius. Just because I was reading. And one of my mentors said, when you start reading books, you're going to seem like geniuses to your friends. That's what he said. He said, you're going to seem like a genius. They're going to start asking you questions. They're going to start looking for advice from you. And I didn't understand that. But then once I started reading, I understood it because my brain was changing. I started seeing things differently. I knew what assets and liabilities were. Mm-hmm. I knew what active income was and passive income was. I knew what value residual income had in my life. It was an equivalent to freedom. I started to make these connections in my brain. Now, mind you, this is information. It's the first part of mental science. Information, knowledge. But you have to pick the correct knowledge. You have to know who to listen to. Mm-hmm. And most people don't know who to listen to. They listen to their parents.
Yeah.
And your parents don't have what you want. So why would you listen to them?
Right.
Just because they're your parents, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're supposed to do. They're authority. So we get trained to just listen to authority rather than think. So when I joined this business, this pyramid scheme that changed my life for the best, which I recommend. I'm like, get into a pyramid scheme. Yes. They'll actually coach you, train you, give you books. Join the pyramid scheme. Everybody out there who looking at this, go join one. I bet your life will be better.
Yeah.
Because they'll train you in mental habits. But I mean, that's what ended up happening. That's what ended up happening to me. And my life changed, man. I ended up manifesting. I left that business eventually. Mm-hmm. But I took all of the knowledge that I learned in that business and I applied it in my next one.
Yeah.
And I made the very first year of business, I made $250,000. And this was back in 2014, 13.
Nice.
I made $250,000 and I'm 22 years old. I don't even know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I literally don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. I loved people. I believed in people. I knew how to sell a product. Mm-hmm. I knew where we were supposed to go because I read enough books. The books would just tell you where to go.
Right.
So it was like these books were just like targets in my brain. They were just like servo mechanisms in a bomb. I just knew where to go because I had read the books. They just told me all the time. Mm-hmm. None of the information that I have that's coming out of my mouth, I believe is mine. Some of it is, some of it's original, some of it spontaneously comes out, the spiritual stuff. But when it comes to just basic mechanics of the mind, all those books were in my brain. They told me where to go. So I knew where to go, but I didn't know anything else. Mm-hmm. I didn't know. I went out there, and I would tell you, when I first started my business, this was incredible. I got married first. I wrote the girl down. Now I wanted to get married. This was my desire. Mm-hmm. I had a deep desire because I had just got out of a horrible relationship. I told you how bad my girlfriends were. Okay. So I got out of a horrible relationship. Girl was abusive. I'm like, how am I a man and I'm getting abused? And this is like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm getting abused in this relationship, mentally, physically, emotionally. I'm like, how the hell is this even possible?
Yeah.
I leave that relationship and I knew what I wanted because I knew what I didn't want. I write down on a page, front and back, every quality that I felt I deserved and what I wanted in the girl. And it was super easy because all I did was look at the girl that I was with and just do the opposite. So I just wrote the opposite qualities of her, and I knew exactly what I wanted. So a week later, I meet a girl. Now, I didn't think immediately anything because I'm dating different girls. Finally, I get to date all kind of girls I want, right? Because now my mind is in a different place. I'm feeling good. I go on a date with this girl. Sparks flying. It was chemistry out of the world, right? I look at the paper that I wrote. She's every single quality on the page, including the name.
Really?
No joke.
You wrote down a
Her
name?
name? Huh?
You wrote down a name?
I wrote the name. I just made a name because I'm like, this is what the name would be if this was a real person. Yeah. Wow. I write this down. By the way, this is the formula. If you want to know the formula of mental science, this is how it goes. I wrote the name, every quality. Now, for the weeks that I was doing it, now y'all might think I'm crazy, but I'm telling you, Napoleon Hill has this in his book. I don't know if anybody knows Napoleon Hill. You know Napoleon Hill?
Yeah, Think and Grow Rich.
500 studied the 500 most successful people of his time. He actually did this, and I didn't even know. He would put imaginary people in his head and have conversations with them. And he said that was a key to his success. He did it all the time. But he didn't tell him. Mastermind. But he thought he would be crazy, so he stopped doing it. So I did this with a girl. I would drive down the street, and I just turn to the right in the passenger seat and be talking to my girl who's not there.
Yeah.
And I would do that. And I remember my sister came into into the living room. I came over my mom's house. My sister came into the living room and caught me talking out loud out of my mouth to no one. Okay. And she's like, are you talking to yourself? I'm talking about this would be embarrassing to some people. I'm like, yeah. Yes. And I just continue to do it. And a week later, I meet the girl. 6 months later, I married a girl, and we have 5 years of incredible marriage.
That's
I'm not with her now. It was incredible.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted. So I married her, and then I started my business. So that's why I said that story. Because I want to show you just how like these connections start getting made. Now I started a business, I make $250,000. But I had to remember where the $250,000 was made first. And I look back, I said thoughts become things. Most people don't know this. You become what you think about most of the time. It is just that way. And most people hear that and they just breeze right over it. I'm gonna keep coming back to it. But when I had my business, it was a guy. And I did music. I was a rapper. So this guy telling me, "Oh, I'm gonna give you a chain, quarter. I got a $200,000 bonus I can give you. Forward you." It was like 200,000, 250,000. It's like, I like your music. We need to record it a little bit better. But so he's telling me these things. Now, while he's telling me these things, I'm creating an image in my mind as he's saying it because I'm believing what he's saying. I was gullible. Most people are like, you were just gullible. In my mind, I would see what he was saying though. He was telling me he was going to give me $250,000. So I'm thinking, if I had $250,000, what would I do? I started to dream for the first time bigger than what I dreamed before because I was believing what he was saying. Now, eventually I found out he was lying, but I had already created the image. I had already accepted the money. I didn't know that meant anything. 2.5 years later, I look at my tax return, $270,000. And I realized I created this when I believed him then. And it manifested. I had no idea how it would manifest. I didn't even think about it. But mental science shows you your mind creates what you feed it with the most intensity and the longest duration of time. And I was thinking about the $250,000. I planted the seed. So once you plant that seed in the mind, it's a seed. What do you do with seeds?
You water.
You just water them.
Yeah.
You just water them. How do you water a seed in the mind? Feel good. That's the reason feeling good is the whole key. You already have desires.
Yeah.
Right? You got desires right now, right?
Absolutely.
You already got desires. You don't have to try to do that. You just have to feel good. So they activate and come to existence. And that's it. That's as simple as it is. But you have to get to that point where you realize that.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. I
Thank
am
you.
blown away at your story, man. That's an incredible story because the fact that you were able to write down, your, who your wife is now, like to a T, to the name, and this, that is just incredible, man. And I think that gives people hope. Like, if
It
you're
should.
listening right now, you know what to do.
You know what to do now. You know what to do now. And the thing is, you have to truly, sincerely desire it.
Yeah. How do you
It
do that?
like has to grip you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How do
As
you?
long
Because do you know who Neville Goddard is?
I love Neville Goddard. That's one of my teachers.
Yes, me
I
too.
call him my guru. That's guru. Yeah.
His, if you haven't, and this is for anyone who's listening or watching, if you haven't heard of Neville Goddard, I encourage you. It is some of the most game changing information you could come across because as you were talking, like the thought of him came up because you were talking about how you need to feel it, and that's one of Neville's, like, he hones in on the feeling is the secret. The feeling is the secret. The feeling is the secret, and it's like it's that missing part of an equation that you absolutely must have. And I will admit that is a challenge that I am faced with right now. Like, cause like logically, I know how to get to where I want to go. Like logically,
Mm-hmm.
like I break down a goal. I can, I have small goals, but right now, I think the challenge for me is the feeling.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get to the actual feeling
Good
of
question.
you know experiencing that experiencing the
Mm-hmm.
life that you ideally would like to experience?
Mm-hmm.
How do
Good
you
question.
how do you get there?
It's a good question. It's a fine tuning process. It's a fine tuning process. Your feelings are like it's a mix of them, right? You
Mm-hmm.
have a mix of different feelings. In order to get to the point where you really ignite the feeling in you so that it takes over everything else,
Mm-hmm.
in the very beginning, it's going to take a lot of effort. You got to learn and I break this down on in other ways, like on some of my programs and some of the teachings that I do. But what's going on is you have to this a big ball of energy or a big ball of consistent pattern thoughts in your subconscious or in your body. So it's neural pathways. These neural pathways in the body are thinking for you at first. They're feeling for you. They're reacting to your environment. That's what they do. You see dog, you remember dog bit you, you scared of dog.
Mm-hmm.
That's your body. It just does it. It thinks for you.
Mm-hmm.
So our bodies are constantly reacting to things. So this is called overcoming the flesh, as Neville would say.
Mm-hmm.
You have to overcome the flesh, or overcome the body's reaction. How do you do that? First, look at the situation you're in. Look at your mental circumstance that you're in now. Look at the emotional circumstances you have and do an audit.
Mm-hmm.
Most will never do this because we avoid it. Do an audit. What is going on in your life now? What is your current situation? Not the story. But what's the situation? What I mean by that is when I was with my ex and I didn't like her and it was a bad situation, I could have said, oh, she's evil, she's this, she's that, which I did. And that's why I had the circumstance because I kept telling stories about it. But I switched that to I'm unhappy in the relationship. Okay. What feelings am I feeling? I'm feeling underappreciated. I'm feeling like I'm giving but not receiving. So I just gave specifics that I felt. I didn't tell a big story of what it should be. I just said what it was to me at the moment. Okay, I'm living here in this place. I don't like this place. I'm living here. I'm taking an audit. Once you get an audit of your current life, of what you don't want, what you do want becomes very clear. So this is the reason you got to first do an audit. What I mean by audit is look at the areas of your life and write down what's consistently going on there all the time. Write down what consistently shows up there all the time. And you'll find things that you don't want. You got to get the full problem on a page. Just dump it on a page. Easiest way to do it. Once you have that, then you can start going over to the other side and saying, okay, what do I really want? And just look at the certain situations. What do I actually want? Like, for instance, with the ex, I said I did not want to be nothing that she wanted, or I didn't want anything she was, and I just wrote the opposite. It was very easy to do. So because I was so clear on what I didn't want, and I just wrote it all down, and I just wrote the opposite. And I said, this is what I want, and I emphasized that. But first, it's the audit. If you don't do the audit, but you try to focus on the other side first, you end up carrying all of this with you into creating your future, and you create the same thing again with a little bit of what you want, but all of what you don't want too. You never identified what it was. So this is order in the mind. You got to order your mind. Once you order your mind, you'll be clear and say, okay, I know exactly what I want. I want multiple six-figure income businesses that are automated. Boom. Got it. Why do I want that? Write all the emotions and the feelings that go with it. Write all of the things you'll be able to do for your family. Write all of the reasons that you love it. Write all of that down on the why under it, and think about how they connect. You connect the dots. Oh, this will give me this, that, everything. It's going to give me everything. So what you're doing is you are now building reasons into one dot, one goal. If the goal accomplishes everything you want in every area of life, you just put the attention on that dot and keep contemplating how this one dot, that one goal, makes you feel, and the reasons and all of the things it's going to give you. So once you do that, it becomes so crystal clear where you want to go. But the funny part is, as you were thinking about that, you weren't trying to go there. You are there. You are there. You don't know you're there, because just like you read a book or you watch a movie, you disappear. You are in the movie. You're in the book. But once you get that dot and you live there, because you just keep thinking about all of the incredible things that this brings with it, what Neville explains is there's a bridge of incidents that'll just happen where it'll lead you to the circumstance, and it'll just be happening. Here's the key, though. It never shows up how you think. Never shows up how you think, and it always presents a problem to open the door for opportunity. That's the thing that people mostly don't know. So you want it, you're clear about it, you embodying it every day. Okay, here comes it. When you see a huge, massive problem pop in your life, get excited, because that's the door. You're going to go through that door, and what you want is going to be on the other side in abundance. 10x. So the process is doing an audit. But the way you maintain the feeling through the day, you have to set up some rituals. You're going to have to sacrifice the vast majority of the entertainment that you do right now. You have to sacrifice the vast majority of it to learn a recipe, the recipe. If you are not willing to sacrifice weekends going out, if you're not willing to sacrifice your Netflix series, Peaky Blinders, if you're not willing to sacrifice your time with your kids, if you're not willing to sacrifice your video games, if you're not willing to sacrifice all the sleep you love to get, if you're not willing to sacrifice all your excuses and reasons for why you are where you are, if you're not willing to sacrifice the stories you keep telling over and over again, if you're not willing to sacrifice the way you dress right now, if you're not willing to sacrifice these things, the things that you love the most, don't even try to get what you want. You don't qualify. You don't qualify. But once you're willing to sacrifice those things, and to sacrifice those things specifically to learn a recipe of success, that means read books, massive amounts of them on a regular basis, and listening to audios, massive amounts of them on a regular basis, replacing music that you play in your car with a book all the time until you're successful. And if you're not willing to do that, cancel it. You don't qualify. It's not by my standards. Watch. The universe is going to give you exactly what you keep putting your attention on, which is BS, stuff that don't even matter. It's just going to do that. When it comes to really nailing down the formula, you have to be dedicated to constantly reading books and constantly listening to audios. Constant. And then applying them at the deepest level you can on a regular basis, even if you're not getting results right now. The key component is, do you feel good? If you feel good, or secondly, you feel better, you're doing the right thing and you're thinking the right thing. If you feel worse, or you feel neutral, or you feel bad, you're doing it wrong. That's how you know. If you feel good and you're feeling better, consistent in that moment, in the moment, now you're doing it correctly. If you feel neutral, I have to put neutral in there because most people are like, oh, I feel okay. Nope, you feel bad. That's bad. Okay, you feel neutral, you feel bad. You're not doing it right. You're not doing it right. You have to feel good. You have to be feeling better than what you felt just a second ago. Now, are you going to be like that all the time? No, because you have neural pathways that are built that way. Okay, and also you're going to have moments which are earthquake moments where it's boom, it just hits you. So you may stumble a little bit, but once you get training, you'll realize, oh, this is what Josh was talking about. This is the door, and you'll get excited. And you'll just go through the door. You start looking for what's good there. Everybody else is panicking. And he's like, I know something's good there. I don't know what it is, but it's something, and I'm going to look for it and find it. And then you'll find it, and you get the benefit. This is how you keep your mind on your goal. Another way to keep your mind on your goal and catch the feeling. This is the feeling thing. You got to know your scores. So what are your scores of your game? Remember the game analogy? When you make this thing into a game, it's going to be fun anyways. So you're going to be feeling good and feeling better. The better you get at a game, the better you feel playing the game. So what are your scores? You got to know what your scores are. If you work in a business, profits are your score, recruits are your score, or how many leads you got is your score, how many closes. Those are scores in a business game. In a relationship game, it depends on if you're single or if you're with somebody. If you're single, maybe it's I met a girl I liked. I met a guy I actually liked today. I had a good conversation with a person that I liked today. I found a quality that I liked in a man or a woman today. I developed a quality that I would like in my relationship today. I'm changing my character so that I can attract a different kind of person today. Every little change that you make in a day is a score. How many times if you're with somebody, how many times did I make my spouse smile today? Did she smile? Did she laugh? Did she hug on me? Did I give her something that she didn't even know she needed today? Was I vulnerable? Did I open my heart as much as I could today? Did I create some new living experience today for her? What did I do for myself? Did I bring my best to the table? Did I ignite my soul today? Because I know the best thing I can bring to the table is myself. Did I feel good today? Those are all scores in relationship. And you can just keep tallying in your mind. You shouldn't do it on your mind. You should do it on paper. Make sure you know what your scores are and then mark them off and get better every day. So if you see these numbers improving and they improve the way you feel and they improve your relationship, you're constantly thinking about it. Maybe you want to go on multiple dates in a week and you've never been on a date before. If you start with the score of I want to go on a date, well, that's a dream. Okay? It's a dream right now. So if you have a dream, because you're asking about how to get the feeling, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got the big dream. You got the goals that you have in a row, right? But you got the big dream. How far can you dream and feel good about it? Is the question. Can you see yourself in the end and feel good while you're there?
Mm.
If not, scale it back or change the goal. You have to get the belief, vision level, or the belief level and the excitement level equal. So if you got if your goal, your belief level, and your excitement level are equal, that means I'm excited to get this, and I believe I'm getting this.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can set scores on that because I'm actually going to do it. Maybe your score right now is just wake up early. I just want to feel good when I wake up. I just want to like myself right now. I just want to respect myself right now. Let me do 20 push-ups to respect myself.
Mm.
Okay? I just want to do 20 push-ups because I don't work out. But I'm about to call this a workout. I did 20 push-ups today. Keep it in your head. Don't tell nobody.
Mm-hmm.
These scores. So when you keep these scores to yourself, what happens is you start thinking about it all day. And what happens? What you become what you think about what? Most of the time.
Right.
So when you're thinking about this most of the time, you feel good all the time. You almost damn near forget the goal, but you get it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're feeling so good. That's the point. So to catch the feeling, that's one way in real life to catch the feelings. Another thing, and remember to start with that audit. But another way to catch the feeling of your dream is get around people who have it already.
Mm.
Get around people who had a dream already. They just come out, they just rub off on you.
Yeah.
Like, whoa. You'll start seeing a different intensity. It's like, oh, I didn't know I needed to be this intense. You focus on this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, I focus on this all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I thought that was just kind of a hyperbole. No, they think about it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
They're never not thinking about it. Then you realize, like, oh shit, I gotta 10x my game. I thought I was thinking about it enough. I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah.
You get the feeling rub off. One of the best ways. If you can't get around somebody physically, go look at a YouTube video of somebody who's massively successful, who's doing what you want to do, and just watch them work.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see certain habits. You're going to see certain routines. And what happen, our brains have mirror neurons in them. So the mirror neurons in your brain are going to start copying him or her. They're going to start copying. That means your brain thinks that you're them at that moment. That means you're about to get what they have because thoughts become reality. This is all ways to get the feeling. Dream build. Go be places you would physically be if you had your dream already. Which car lot would you be at? Go there. Which house would you be looking at buying? Go to it. What menu would you be looking at? How would you look at a menu if you went out to eat? Would you look at the price to the meal, or would you look at the meal first?
Mm-hmm.
You're not gonna look at the price first. You're gonna look at the meal first. Practice looking at the meal first and see what you want. All ways to catch the feelings. All these ways catch the feelings. Eventually, your mind is gonna fuse with this state, and you're gonna fall in love with the state, and you won't be able to think about anything else, and it's just gonna take on a life of its own.
Yeah.
And when it takes on a life of its own, you don't have to do anything. It's gonna manifest. It's done. There's all ways to catch feelings.
That's beautiful.
All these ways. There's a lot more ways too, but that's just a few.
A lot of what I'm hearing you say, it's when I was part of the Christian community, they would talk about that. They would talk about how, when you are in faith for something, it's kind of like what you're saying. Act it out,
Yep.
Go test drive that car that you are believing for, that you are in faith for.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, of course, what you're saying as well is consistency. Consistency is, to me, is the game. You gotta keep stacking chips. Keep stacking those chips. And eventually, like you said, you're gonna be where you you know, want to be and not even realize it.
You didn't realize. You look around like, whoa! I remember I wrote this down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's an awesome feeling. That's one of the
it's
things that I
incredible.
had to learn was consistency is one of the keys to this game of life. You got to keep, you got to keep building on what you started, and you got to keep applying pressure to that dream that you have for yourself.
You gotta keep doing it. You
Yeah.
gotta keep doing it. And a lot of what's challenging is the dream in the first place.
Hmm.
It's a dream in the first place. A lot of times when you write down dreams, you upset because you believe you're not gonna get it while you're writing it.
Yeah.
So you gotta monitor your feelings when you do this stuff.
Hmm.
If you doing something and it just feels resistant, you have to stop
Hmm.
and find
Yeah.
out why it's resistant. Is this resistant? It's always resistant because thoughts. Always 100% of the time it's resistant because thoughts. But if you can find why I'm holding on to something, I keep thinking it should be some other way. I feel like I shouldn't have to do this. All of those thoughts drag you down.
Mm.
It's because you're thinking about what you don't want. You don't want to do the work. That's not the thing you're excited about. You're excited about the outcome. So while you do the work, feel the outcome while you do the work because you know that this is the path to the outcome.
Yeah.
The outcome just pulls you through it,
Hmm.
but you got to actually have an outcome.
Hmm.
Now, if you're not compelled, if you're not on fire for something yet, make your first goal to be on fire about something.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the
That's
first goal
so
you got to have.
important.
Oh, yeah.
That
It's
that's one of
the
the
most
things
important.
I've noticed that just in where I work right now, you kind of come across just different walks of life, of course, but one thing that breaks my heart absolutely is just seeing how people feel like they're powerless, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like there's nothing more to what they're currently experiencing. And to
Yeah.
me that breaks my heart. And
Yeah.
because like I believe each and every person that has breath in their lungs, I believe they have a purpose to why they are here. You know what I mean? And it sounds kind of grandiose, but I think um, every person has a part to play. You know what I mean? Like in this thing called life, like we all have
Oh,
our part to play, and I think you're doing yourself and your loved ones and the people you care about a disservice when you're not tapped into that higher self. You know what I mean?
exactly.
I
Exactly.
wanna I wanna know your thoughts on um, how do you get to that place where you are passionate about life, where you feel like you have a purpose, because
Hmm.
that's I would say one of the themes of my life has been continually searching for what I was brought here to do,
Hmm.
why I was
Yeah.
born, and a lot of
Yeah.
people, and I don't want to say a lot, maybe it's just a handful of people are experiencing that point in their life where they feel like it's kind of hopeless, you know what I mean? Or like they feel like they don't have a purpose, or, maybe life has beat them up pretty good,
Yep.
and, they're kind of in this disheveled place,
Hmm.
and very apathetic about life.
Yeah.
How,
Yeah.
how do we get there to a place where, or what do you want to tell those people that kind of are in that place right now?
If you're in that place right now, this is what I would tell you. It's actually okay.
Hmm.
That's the first thing I would tell you. It's actually okay. The reason I'm telling you that is because the only reason you feel bad about where you are is because you have resistance about where you are.
Hmm.
First of all, it's actually okay. Relax. It's okay.
Hmm.
You don't need to know everything. You
Hmm.
never will. And you don't need to know who you are either.
Hmm.
You never will.
Yeah.
Okay? So let's just get that out of the way.
Hmm.
Next, you got some stuff you like.
Hmm.
Write it down. I don't care what it is. Just write it down
Hmm.
and continue to write it down.
Yeah.
Anything. Now, You might say, I don't like anything. I don't like anything. Everything is bad in my life. You can say that. That may be true.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also true that there are things you like.
Mm-hmm.
Write them down and continue to write them down. There's another thing I'll say. Right now, put your hand on your heart and see how you feel.
Mm.
Ask yourself this. Is it anything that I'm missing right now? And answer the question honestly. Don't say it out of your mouth. Just ask it. Just be aware. Is it anything that you need right now? Actually, in this moment, not in the future 5 minutes. Now, there is nothing you need right now. You are literally expressing everything you need.
Mm.
Realize that there's nothing you need.
Mm-hmm.
Third thing I'll tell you, don't try at all. Just be aware of what's happening. Just be aware of what's happening. That's it. And the last thing I would tell you is listen to Your Wish is Your Command on YouTube by Kevin Trudeau every single day, every single day, every single day
Mm-hmm.
for the rest of your life. Everything will change for you. That's my advice. It will work 100% of the time. Promise.
Mm-hmm.
I 100% know if anybody does that, their life will improve significantly. I know it 100%. And it'll happen like this right away. That's what I would tell them. If a person does that, you do not need another piece of advice. Do it before you read something else, before you listen to another podcast, before you do anything else. Do what we just talked about right now. What do I need? Realize it's nothing. Stop trying. Just observe what's going on and listen to your wish, your command all day. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
If you do that, your life will change. It just has to.
Yeah.
That's it. Now that sounds simplistic, and it is. Mm-hmm. That's the secret. Anybody who actually knows how to do something is simple.
Right.
When you hear a person start telling you very complicated things to do, they don't know. Or they do know, and they're just trying to do a sales pitch on you. Basically, here's how confusing life really is.
Mm-hmm.
My product makes it simple. Buy it. That's what they're trying to do. Truth is, it's not complicated. It's simple. They've probably found out it's simple. So once you find out how simple it is by just doing this, mm-hmm. It'll change your life. It'll change your life. Now, why would this change your why would this change your life? I'm gonna tell you why. Your mind is the automatic mind is your enemy at the beginning. At the beginning, it's an enemy. So any automatic thoughts, if you think you're those thoughts, you're done. If you care about what thoughts are coming out of your head and you try to change them, it's over. They got too much momentum. That's just like you trying to step out in front of a freight train and say, I'm going to stop this right now. Listen, don't do that. All right? Don't do that. Just let the train go by and watch the train on fire go by. It's just a train on fire. Wow.
Yeah.
Damn. And that's what the thoughts are. When your thoughts just flow, they're just on fire trains and planes burning. Just watch it like a movie.
Yeah.
You do that, you ask yourself, what do I need right now? It's always nothing. Mm-hmm. At this moment, it's nothing. You don't need anything. You have everything you need. You are everything. You're expressing everything you need. And then listen to your wish, your command every single day. Mm-hmm. All day, and replace all music with it until your life changes. That's it.
I love it, man. Thank you for sharing that. I think our conversation has been definitely valuable to a lot of people, and I want to thank you for sharing your wisdom and your insights.
Thank you.
What are some, before we, before we officially end the pod, what are some of the resources that you recommend that people can check out? I know you mentioned Your Wish is Command, Your Wish is Your Command by Kevin Trudeau.
Yes. Resources is plenty. It's a lot of resources.
Mm-hmm.
And there are essentials. I'm going to talk about the essentials kit. Okay. The essentials kit is Your Wish is Your Command. Like we said, it's on YouTube. It's a whole bunch of different variations of it. When you pull it up, the first thing you're going to see is scam, like a pyramid scheme, telling you the guy knows what he's talking about. Listen to him. It'll change your life. They don't want this. There's an elite class of people who don't want the information to be leaked out. He leaked it anyway. That's the reason that he get a lot of backlash on it. Listen to him. He has secrets. That's number one. Number two, Edinburgh Lectures on Mental Science. Thomas Troward, the author. It's the hardest book you're going to read. That's the gym. That is your mental gym. Literally, not GEM, GYM. That's your mental gym. Okay? You are going to get a workout, meaning you will read a paragraph and you will not understand it. It'll be packed with so much value and so much profound simplicity that you have to read the same paragraph for months and you still won't get it. You still won't get it. I still don't get it. Not all of it. I'm going to read it for the rest of my life. I will never stop. Okay? Read that every single day. Thirdly, read Eckhart Tolle, anything Eckhart Tolle, specifically A New Earth, and then secondly, A Power of Now. Okay? And practice. Okay? That's third. And then fourth, go exercise every day. Walk an hour a day. Go walk for an hour a day by yourself with no cell phone. That's fourth. Fifth, join a group. Join a group where people celebrate breakthroughs, vulnerability, and doing something that you're scared of, so that you can get recognized for it and watch other people do it. Those are the resources. And I got a group that you can join. It's on my TikTok, it's on my Discord. I got a group you can join and do that. Plenty of groups out there. You do those things though, that's the starter kit. You do those, you get those, you don't have to read anything else. You sincerely. That's all you need.
All right.
Amazing.
Josh Livingston, or Josh the Shaman. What are you working on next, brother? Tell the people what you're working on next.
Like that you asked that. So what I'm working on next is we got a project coming where we building mental science consultants. So if you want to be a mental science consultant, you want to consult people on relationships, you want to consult people on their business affairs, and you want to consult people on their peace of mind. If you want to consult people, we have a training that we develop with all those essential resources. We have homework to do. We got trainings that we drill for people to learn that and really be able to serve and create an income for themselves. So we're building that right now. I'm excited about that. And we're building an entire academy on the back end of that. So we're really building a school. So if you want to be a mental science consultant and really learn this at the deepest level, we got the university here. So that's what's next. I'm excited about that.
All right, man. Excited. I love it. I'm at to check that out.
Yeah, man. Check it out. You'll like it.
And then I have 3 questions that I ask kind of to bookend every single podcast. And the first one is, what do you define as success?
Ooh. You good, man. That's a good one. I define success as you having a goal, meaning something you want written down you intend to get, and you are making your way there on purpose every day. So it's essentially the definition Earl Nightingale gave. A goal is something that you want written down, you intend to get, and you are making your way there every single day. Just the progress toward it is success. Growth.
Love it.
That's success.
Question number 2. What is love?
Mm. Love is love is what you are, not what you give.
Mm.
Love is what you are at the most fundamental level. That is what love is. Love is what you are, not what you give. It's what you
Mm.
are. Because
Love
when you
that.
are love, you give it anyways.
That's a very, very unique answer, unique response. I've never heard that before.
I
And final
love
question. What is the meaning and purpose to life?
it. Hey, you know what I would say? Love.
Mm.
Ultimately. Ultimately, total, absolute love. To wake up and be in love all
Mm.
day. That's the meaning of life and purpose. That's it. Take work to do it, but that's the point. That is the point. Good questions. Really
Thank
good
you, bro.
questions. You're welcome, man.
Josh Livingston, everybody. Thank you so much. And then let people know where they can find you.
You can find me pretty much everywhere as Josh the Shaman. You can find me Josh the Shaman on TikTok, Josh the Shaman on YouTube, Josh the Shaman on Instagram, and all of my links are in the bio to everything else there. So just social media, Josh the Shaman on all platforms. Look me up, I'll pop up.
For sure. All right, man. Go ahead and stay on the line. I'm just going to close it right here. Thank you for everyone who's listening. Hope you found some value in this conversation. Hope you leave this conversation learning something new. And see you at the top.
See you at the top.